doesn't it? Lots of young people hitchhike. Seems like a good way to get from one place to another. But sometimes there are dangers involved that never meet the eye. So no matter where you meet a stranger, be careful if they are too friendly. One never knows when the homosexual is about. Let's take the case of Jimmy Barnes. Jimmy played baseball all afternoon, and he didn't feel like walking home, so he decided to thumb a ride. He'd done it 100 times before, and he didn't think anything was unusual when the driver struck up a friendly conversation. In fact, he seemed like a real nice guy. What Jimmy didn't know was that Ralph was sick, a sickness that was not visible like smallpox, but no less dangerous and contagious, a sickness of the mind. You see, Ralph was a homosexual, a person who demands an intimate relationship with members of their own sex. So no matter where you meet a stranger, be careful if they are too friendly, if they try to win your confidence too quickly, and if they become overly personal. One never knows when the homosexual is about. He may appear normal.
We discovered that Americans consider homosexuality more harmful to society than adultery, abortion, or prostitution.
The gay liberation movement was led to counter prejudice towards gay individuals, especially where both the government and police would harass and persecute them.
There certainly is. At least 300 people have been arrested by the police in the New York area during the last 3 weeks.
Why?
Apparently it's part of an overall nationwide program to drive homosexuals back underground now that we're coming out.
The movement continued to have serious effects on social changes by encouraging the LGBT community to fight oppression from society. The cause for the gay liberation movement was when the New York police raided a gay and cross-dress bar at Stonewall Inn. The purpose of the movement was to urge homosexuals to engage in direct action and to counter societal shame with gay pride. Many homosexuals in urban areas experience harassment from police. This resulted in homosexuals forming groups to fight for their protection, said Leah J. Robinson from State University of New York. In conclusion, the movement ushered a new era of pride, openness, and activism. Alfred C. Kinsey is thought of as the first person to explore sexuality from a scientific perspective. His research allowed for an open discussion of sexual behavior between people. At the time, the subject of sex was considered taboo, so Kinsey's research was found to be morally controversial. Kinsey's research contributed to the social changes that would impact the LGBT community. Born in Hoboken, New Jersey on June 23, 1894, to be the first of 3 children, Alfred Kinsey later in life became a professor, teaching biology at Indiana University. Then, in 1938, his career shifted toward the study of human sexuality when he began teaching a new course on marriage. As a result of this shift, Kinsey published his famous book, Sexual Behavior in the Human Male, 1948, which followed by Sexual Behavior in the Human Female, 1953, but was less popular. Kinsey developed the Kinsey scale to codify sexual orientation. This scale relies on psychological aspects of an individual, like emotions and behavior, instead of one's claimed sexual orientation. From a historical perspective, it matters less that he was empirically right or wrong than the fact that the 10% figure has structured both pro- and anti-homosexual rhetoric and movements in the United States from the 1950s to the present, said by historian Donna J. Ducker. Those with permissive views of homosexuality, masturbation, and premarital sex uniformly accord Kinsey respect and recognition. Those who maintain traditional Judeo-Christian sexual morality regard him as an unprincipled snake in the grass, said by Stephen D. Greedinus. Alfred Kinsey contributed to the gay liberation movement by directly promoting the fact that, scientifically, there is no black and white but different shades of gray, when homosexuality and heterosexuality are brought into light.
Many agree that the gay liberation movement was sparked by the Stonewall riots. The Stonewall Inn was converted into a gay bar in 1966 by 3 members of the Mafia in order to exploit homosexuals' need for a community. The Mafia owned many of the bars and clubs in New York at the time and usually paid the police officers in order to keep them away. But police raids on gay bars were still common because they often wanted a larger pay. The Stonewall Inn had watered-down, overpriced drinks and was considered disgusting by many. The reason the bar was so popular was that it was one of the few gay bars that allowed dancing. On the night of June 28, 1969, the police raided the Stonewall Inn. The people in the bar soon grew angry, tired of being harassed by the police officers, and attacked them, trapping them inside the bar. The policemen became infuriated and grabbed someone from the crowd that had gathered in front of the Stonewall Inn and brutally beat them inside the bar. Little did they know that it was actually folk singer Dave Van Ronk and not a homosexual. The riot continued and soon the militia got involved, and even they had a difficult time dealing with the Stonewall girls.
The crowd erupted into an on-again, off-again fight against the cops.
I got there about an hour after it started. The scene that I was focused on, which I'll never forget, was the famous line where all the drag queens were doing a Rockettes kick line, singing, "We are the Stonewall girls, we wear our hair in curls.
We wear our dungarees above our Nelly knees. When it comes to boys, we merely hypnotize." And that's when that was enough of that. The cops just got us.
Well, I said to myself, heaven has arrived.
The thing that was going through my head was good. Finally, why not?
I spent the whole rest of the night throwing rocks and making lame attempts at turning over cars, and it was a ball.
These were our sisters. They were all fighting, and I couldn't walk away. I didn't want to walk away.
I remember it being fabulous, or as I say, fabulous.
The homophile movement allowed for more openness on the subject of varied sexual orientations for people of all ages. The cause of the movement was for respect and equal rights for people regardless of gender identity or sexual orientation. The purpose was to provide safe, social environments, addressing workplace and housing discrimination, and encouraging medical, legal, and other professions to adopt a more sympathetic view of homosexuals. In addition, in 1950 in Los Angeles, California, Harry Hay, a Communist Party organizer, and a few students from Hay's music class founded the first homophile organization. Communist Party member Harry Hay founded the Madachine Society in Los Angeles in 1950, and Phyllis Leon and Del Martin and 3 other lesbian couples founded the Lesbian Daughters of Bilitis in 1955. These were the primary homophile organizations in the middle of the 20th century, and they existed in an overwhelmingly anti-gay environment. Written by historian Chris Love. Many activists and scholars influenced by the gay liberation movement of the 1970s argued that the use of homophile demonstrates that the 1950s activists were conservative, and that they felt a degree of shame about the sex lives of homosexuals. As a result, from the homophile movement, there were self-defense schools and shelters made for battered women, as well as a self-sufficient lesbian community.
The National LGBTQ Task Force was the cause of many different social changes and movements within the 1970s. These changes are impactful because they continue to allow the queer community to partake in their civil rights. The organization also continues to be relevant today since it upholds the values and lessons that it introduced to the public decades ago through sponsored activities and awareness attempts. Ever since the National Gay Task Force was established in 1973, they have left a legacy of social changes that have affected the way in which the LGBTQ+ community is treated today. Before the National Gay Task Force advocated for the gay liberation movement, discrimination was extremely evident towards the LGBT community. It was common to, for example, to see so-called justifiable violence against the community. There was also a great discrimination against people with AIDS, and many actions were taken against them as well, such as school expulsions, home evictions, and job terminations. A final example in which the LGBTQ+ community was discriminated against was with the condemnation of homosexuality as a mental disorder from organizations such as the American Psychological Association. However, due to the task force's positive intervention within the movement, there have been many social and political changes that have made a positive impact on the LGBTQ+ community. For example, the task force greatly influenced the American Psychological Association to stop referring to homosexuality as a mental disorder. The task force also took victory in the court ruling for the case of the National Gay Task Force versus the Board of Education of the City of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. The outcome of this case also ceased the job termination of teachers who partook in public homosexual conduct or activity, quote unquote. Due to the task force, the LGBTQ+ community was also given more equal opportunities, such as the acceptance of gays and lesbians in the performing arts and the acceptance of gays and lesbians in politics. All in all, the National Gay Task Force has beneficially impacted the LGBTQ+ community ever since its establishment in 1973. Due to their influence in the gay liberation movement, they have given the queer community new and equal opportunities in American society as a whole. Even though there have been several political complications for the task force, the organization has succeeded in advancing full freedom, justice, and equality for LGBTQ+ people for the people of the past, present, and future.
The 20th century brought forth the emergence of one of the leading figures in the gay rights movement, Harvey Milk. Milk was an openly gay civil and human rights activist who rose to prominence due to his highly liberal and modern viewpoints, beliefs, and values. Milk brought a new sense of hope to the gay community by providing them with an essential part of their struggle, a voice. In 1977, Milk became one of the earliest openly gay elected officials who served a seat in the San Francisco Board of Supervisors. Due to his open homosexuality, however, he faced severe resistance, resentment, and disapproval in the workplace, seemingly heightened by the fact that he was also involved with a man at the time. Prior to Milk's interest in politics, he served as a Navy man, public school teacher, production associate, and diving instructor. Milk officially came out of the closet in 1944, during the time he was with his first lover, Joe Campbell. Harvey Milk fought for the rights of all people and was known as the mayor of Castro Street until he was assassinated by Dan White in 1978. Harvey Milk is now celebrated on May 22nd on Harvey Milk Day, and he was even given a film called Milk in 2008 in which his character is portrayed by the actor Sean Penn.
I will fight to represent my constituents. I will fight to represent the city and county of San Francisco. I will fight to give those people who had once walked away hope, so that those people will walk back in. Thank you very much.